Okay, let's see if I've got this thing working. No. I know it's shining, but you can't. No, no. Come on now. Come on? Can you help? Can you help me and help me talk to my class? You can't. Okay. Well, you're gonna have to get down. Okay. All right. Okay. You go play. Hey, everybody. As you can probably tell, I'm kind of nuts for Star Wars. Anything Star Wars, especially Yoda or the Child or anything like that. Coming to you today from my office at my apartment, where I have been sheltering in place for quite a while, except for going out for my walks. I wanted to touch base with all of you today to remind you that your first quiz is tomorrow night. Your first reading quiz is tomorrow night, and that reading quiz will cover my essay that I asked you to read, getting philosophy into your lexicon, and it will also include a question from some questions about the first four chapters of the Borgman. Um, let's see. So be sure that you've read my first essay and you've read the Borgman. After this, all of the reading quizzes will be on Borgman. So I wanted to really kind of focus on that in a way where you actually didn't just read me talking about it, but you heard me talk about it. Um, what I'm really wanting us to do here is for you to carefully be reading the Albert Borgman book, Technology and the Character of Contemporary Society. I want you to really pay close attention to that. It's not going to be, an easy read per se. This is a 4,000 level philosophy course, but it's full of a lot of really good sociological, psychological, and anthropological considerations of how human beings have come to, in the 21st, or at least at that point in the 20th century, come to see science a particular way, to see the interconnections of science and technology, so much so that in popular culture, they're almost interchangeable ideas, that the purpose of science is to make better technology, which kind of tells you that for most people, science is a useful tool, and that's an okay way of thinking about science. But what we want to do, and what Borgman wants to do, is he wants to consider how it is with technology. Now, notice, I didn't say, what is technology? A theory of technology is going to be something that helps us to understand how we do science, how we make technology, how we apply technology. And yes, in some instances, the what question comes into play in the sense of, well, what are we talking about when we say the word science or we say the word technology? But those kind of little what questions should not be our default for every question, right? We're not trying to answer definitively forever what is science, what is technology in this course. What we're trying to do, or what is society. Uh, we are on a quest as philosophers to reinvigorate the how. So the what might help us point in a direction. Asking what might help us point in a direction. But once we begin to move in that direction, our questions don't need to just be a catalog of what's that we come across. And I'm going to talk a little more about this issue tomorrow in my group chat on Zoom that I'm going to have for the course. Um, that's Wednesday at 11 a.m. if you can make it. And I want to talk a little bit about that because your first essay, moving towards the end of the week that will be due, is actually called Getting Beyond Whatification. So I encourage you, if you can't be there tomorrow morning for the Zoom, that you watch the recording of the Zoom as quickly as you can. Because, if we really make use of Borgman, and the secondary material by Bruno Latour and all the other material, and you sink yourself, immerse yourself into Borgman's argument so that you can master it between now and the end of the semester, and then use these supplemental materials that I've given you as a means to inspire you to go farther on your own and begin the process of creating a path for yourself to make new decisions in this age of science and technology, in this society of technoscience, as we might say. That's another word that we'll get a little more familiarity with here. But the point that I'm trying to get at here is you should focus on the Borgman and really immerse yourself, get into what he's talking about. The other materials that will be here for the semester are materials to help us situate ourselves with particular issues that are happening to us, around us, with us, for us. And in that regard, we explore more profoundly how we understand science, how we each individually and collectively, as we struggle with each other, understand technology, how we understand society, so that there's a possibility of us responsibly using technology, responding to scientific discovery, and being responsible in society. So, if that doesn't tell you, if this little short video doesn't tell you I'm a rambly kind of thinker who likes to sort of stumble onto the things that really matter, I think that should probably demonstrate it. I sort of come here and there and the other places. Let me just, before I get done for the day, just take a couple of minutes to talk to you about disillusionment, which is one of the little areas that, one of the little assignments I had for y'all today, to think about. When you are sort of thinking about your path forward, like why are you in school? It's generally you're in school because you have a belief that you need to sort of plan a way of life, plan a career for yourself, get training that will help you be, discover more opportunities, etc., etc. And that means in one sense that you have an illusion. And see, the word doesn't have to be a negative term, that's just an illusion. You have an illusion. That means that you're sort of have your own lighted path forward that's informed by the things that you learn, by the things that you understand, and is kind of set off base by the things that you don't understand and the things that you can't learn or you don't know that you need to learn. One of the things that, of course, happens is that illusion can become a collective way of thinking about the world. And in that regard, we have the illusion of a certainty about the world, which has been revealed by God or been discovered by Isaac Newton or, captured in Leonardo's work. But that shared illusion also, that can become a little more problematic. The fact that you have an illusion of where you want your life to be is sort of like using imagination to light up where you want to go. The fact that you accept a collective illusion of certainty from the sciences, from religion, from the art world, that's another kind of a problem. So the issue that we have to work with is, what is disillusionment on the collective scale? And that really is captured better. Is not captured better by anyone than Friedrich Nietzsche. Those little sections out of the gay science, or a better translation would be the frolicking science. That is the science or the profound method of joy, of being joyful, of frolicking, of playfulness. And that's my specialization. When Nietzsche, in these aphorisms, it leads up to one of the most famous aphorisms in Nietzsche's work, and the one that he's the most misquoted for, misunderstood for, and has sort of made him enemy number one for some Christians. And that is, you have in this series of texts the place where he puts forward the notion that God is dead. But I want you to pay very special attention to how God has died. God is not dead. When you read it, you'll see God is not dead because because the true sacred divine has literally perished, but our illusion of God is dead because we now have a new illusion from the natural sciences. But that new illusion that comes along from the natural sciences, you might say that new worldview that comes along from the natural sciences might be a very dangerous one, because it actually disillusions not only the collective, right? Disillusion in this sense would be breaking the light that shines forward to sort of show the way the world is, right? Dis means to break in this sense. Disillusionment of the collective mentality might lead to a lot of the problems that we've seen over the last 150 years. But another problem that's going on that's compounded there is that ability that we have to formulate an illusion of how our own lives have purpose, how we make goals and we go forward with each other, that that is also attacked by this, right? And disillusionment for the individual, okay, could mean existential despair. So then you get a couple of short stories after you read the Nietzsche, one by Thomas Mann and one is really more of a microfiction by Italo Calvino. Thomas Mann this is one of his early short stories in which he shows really sort of the insights and the influence of the insights of Nietzsche onto the lives of people, where they're not just talking about disillusionment with a worldview that gets replaced with another collectively utilized worldview, like, Catholicism for Protestantism or Christianity for science, however you want to do that. He also, I think Thomas Mann's Disillusionment piece actually also gets at the problem of being alive at this time of replacing the religious worldview for the scientific worldview, and then that scientific worldview sort of getting, in a sense, you can already begin seeing here that it's been co-opted in a certain way after the Industrial Revolution, and so this is actually where, around this time, around 1896, is where you would begin to see the collapse in the popular mindset, that science is technology and technology is science. That they're just two words for the same phenomenon. And we would call that technoscience. And in a technoscientific world, you kind of know that everywhere is no different from everywhere else, and what makes it special is just an accident of this kind of limit on our senses, or this kind of limit on natural processes, blah 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 blah, that sort of thing. Okay, then the Italo Calvino piece comes along, and it's a very interesting piece, because what Calvino does is in order to sort of combat the existential despair of a world in which God is dead, that illusory worldview that once held everything together, and in which science has been reduced to nothing more than technology and engineering, so that it's really just, instead of being about wonder primarily, it's about how can we make a better car, how can we make popcorn that doesn't burn in the microwave. Those are important in some sense, but the idea here is, so what he does is he takes scientific theory, and in this book of microfictions called Cosmic Comics, he actually portrays every microfiction is the portrayal of a scientific theory, gravity, evolution, whatever, but it's told sort of either from the perspective of someone witnessing the beginning of that natural law, or actually from the perspective of that natural law. I'll leave it up to you to figure out who you think it is that's talking in this particular microfiction. But the idea here is to take scientific theory, scientific imagination, and then utilize artistic imagination to show a way that disillusionment might actually be baked into the universe, because it's sort of about the breakdown of light. Anyway, okay, well, that's rambling enough. That's 16 minutes. I hope that you 17 minutes. I hope that y'all get something out of this. If you have any questions, put them up in the joint question answer discussion, or you can send me, if it's a question you want to ask and maybe get responses from the entire class, put it in the Ask Your Questions discussion, which we'll be doing all semester. If it's something personal or something where you're not absolutely sure what you want to ask about, you can email me, and then maybe we'll come up with a better way to talk about it, so you can post it as part of the general questions. Okay, you guys and gals and all you in-betweens and others, tranquility and goodness. Look forward to reading and seeing and interacting with y'all. Bye-bye.